I've been thinking a lot lately about how people say things like, you choose your life, or just shift your frequency, or raise your vibration. Most people hear that and think it means something dramatic, like quitting your job, or moving to the other side of the world, or making a change, a huge change, like ending a relationship or having an awakening. But what if choosing your life isn't about big moments at all? What if I told you it's about how you fold the laundry? I'm Lucy, and this is the Clarity Podcast, episode 5. I used to think growth happened in only the big moments, the heartbreaks and the crisis, the rock bottom. But what I've started to realize is that those moments don't create you. They're the moments that actually just reveal your baseline. Let me explain. So, when I say baseline, what I mean is your emotional default. It's nothing mystical, just like your emotional baseline. So, who you are when nothing big is happening, basically. Are you generally irritated? Are you generally rushed, self critical, grateful, steady, reactive? That baseline isn't random, it's built. It's built in the micro moments of every day. For example, the other day I was doing something mundane. I had laundry to do. I was tidying, answering messages, the normal, boring to do list. You have two choices, right? Your first choice is, oh, this is my whole life, day in, day out. No one helps me. I'm exhausted. This is unfair. Your body tightens, like you can feel the tension within you. And I felt irritation building in my body, that familiar low level, why is it always me energy. Nothing had actually happened. It was just the story starting in my own mind. You rehearse the resentment in your mind. Have you ever done that before, where you start a narrative in your mind? You confirm a narrative by doing that. But then choice 2 is, okay, this is just laundry. I've got a home. I can breathe. I'm so lucky that I've got fresh, clean clothes. I don't need to turn this into suffering. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to put some music on. I'm going to take 5, whatever. Nothing's changed externally in those two choices, but internally you chose differently. And in that moment, I realized this is it. This is actually the training ground. Not the crisis, the heartbreak, the breakthrough that I once thought. This, doing laundry, dealing with day to day things, the mundane. And if you consistently choose irritation, irritation becomes familiar. And if you consistently choose softness, softness becomes familiar. That familiarity becomes your baseline. So that's what I mean when I say baseline. We think growth happens in extreme moments, like the arguments, the betrayal, the loss, the challenges of life. But those moments don't create who you are. They just reveal who you've been practicing. They reveal your identity. If all week you've practiced irritation in traffic, impatience in queues, resentment in small things, that when something big happens, that's what arises. But if all week you've practiced pausing and breathing, observing, softening, that's what rises instead. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your baseline. And your baseline is built quietly when you don't even realize. And life is constantly neutral until we interpret it. So it's only until someone reacts to life that we add meaning to it. Traffic is neutral. It's literally cars lined up. Rain is neutral. It's water. A delayed reply is neutral. It doesn't have to mean anything. A comment is neutral. The meaning is added by you. Perception becomes what you think it is. If you believe I'm always overlooked, you will see evidence of that. If you believe life is against me, you will find proof. But reframing that gives it a different perception. And that is your choice. It's not toxic positivity. It's just your awareness. You're not pretending something isn't inconvenient. You're just deciding whether it becomes identity. And identity is reinforced daily. So when people say you can choose your life and you can choose who you want to be, that's the game of perception. And there's a whole aspect to this of ego versus soul. And when I say ego, I don't mean something negative. I mean the part of you that wants control. Ego says, analyze it, fix it, defend and blame and protect because it's looking to try and keep you safe. But the soul says, observe, soften. What's the lesson? Can I see beauty even here? The soul isn't affected the way the ego is in any situation because it sees a lesson, it sees beauty in everything. So the ego lives in the mind and the soul lives in the presence. The ego wants relief and the soul wants freedom. But when you live in a lower emotional baseline, blame feels like relief. Because if you can make a small, mundane, neutral moment that has affected you negatively because of your perception, someone else's fault, then yes, it keeps you small, but it keeps you safe because it's everybody else's fault. Then you don't have to change. You don't have to think about it. Blame becomes comfortable and you become a victim of your own circumstance, of your own environment. And taking responsibility for that can feel so heavy at first because you're not responsible for what happens to you. That's out of your control. But it gives you power back to say, no, you know what? I'm responsible for what I practice in response to these things. This is my training ground. This is my practice for who I want to be, for the identity that I want to embody. So I'm going to take responsibility for how I deal with this situation that's been put in front of me. And I'm going to see everything as a mirror. Your soul came to this earth to learn. So treat everything that's put in front of you as an opportunity to see the lesson, see the beauty, and choose how to respond. Because if you respond by irritation because something's not gone your way or something makes you feel less than or frustrated or stressed, that's only because you made that the narrative in your head to feel that way, because that's your perception that you chose of that situation that was put in front of you. Whether it's a person that's in front of you, whether it's a task, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a journey, whatever it may be, everyday small things that are mundane, choose to see as a mirror and take responsibility for how you can choose to perceive that in that moment and respond to that in that moment. You can choose to transmute anything that makes you feel a certain way. And when I say transmute emotion, I don't mean suppress it. I mean pause long enough to redirect it. Okay, so here's an example. Let's say that your partner forgets something important. The first impulse is to respond negatively and feel, oh, they don't care about me. Pause and then ask, is this about today? Or is this touching something older? Instead of exploding or shutting down, you say, that hurt me. Can we talk about it? That's transmutation. You didn't deny the feeling, you didn't drown in it, you just redirected it. That's alchemy in daily life. Not in a ceremony, but in conversation. Let's say there's piles of laundry to do. And I keep going back to this because it's such a good example. Someone could choose to look at those piles of laundry and be like, oh my gosh, I am going to enjoy this so much. I'm going to fold everything so precisely and neatly, and it's going to give me so much satisfaction. And I'm going to put music on. I've got time to myself. I'm going to put my earphones in. I'm going to dance. I'm going to get organized. Or someone could choose to perceive it in a way that is negative. Oh my gosh, I'm the only person who does this in this house. I'm sick of doing this. I'm so bored of it. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my energy. I'm going to sit here and feel negative about it the whole time that I do it. And instead of transmuting any kind of frustration into, no, you know what? I'm going to turn this around. You're living in that low vibration, which sets your baseline. Because then the next day when something bad happens, your baseline is irritability or frustration or negativity. But if you change that and you're coming off the back of transmuting that into joy, then the next day when that laundry pile is there and you had such a good time yesterday, you can be like, I get to have clean clothes. I get to do this for my family. I get to provide them with clean, fresh clothes. Again, how gorgeous is that? I believe that with all of this said, and with this approach to the mundane, and with this approach to life in general, you can shift your identity baseline. And it may seem so obvious, but it's so difficult to remember to always do that sometimes. But if you can and you can shift your identity baseline, you are literally raising your vibration. And if you see life as a mirror, you can realize that nothing is that heavy in terms of the mundane aspects. No mundane tasks are really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So it's actually a really, really simple, easy way to shift your identity and to choose to move like water in life. And when I say that, I mean water doesn't fight the rock. It just flows around it. It doesn't collapse, it just adapts. Moving like water through life means that not every inconvenience becomes resistance. Not every disagreement becomes identity. Not every irritation becomes personality. It's pure flexibility. It's remembering that I get to choose here. I get to choose my life, my perception. I get to raise my own vibration and not have to wait for anything or anybody else around you to bring that to you. You don't have to wait for hardship to grow. Hardship will come anyway. Unfortunately, we all know that life is full of ups and downs. But your freedom is built in the small moments. Your identity is built in the micro moments of life. How you wash dishes, how you speak to yourself, how you respond when you're tired, how you wake up in the morning when your alarm goes off, how you deal with boredom, how you choose to interpret a look or a tone. Those are the moments where you build identity and tend your frequency. Those are the moments where you remember your power. You have the ability to design the life that you want really, really easily. And choosing your life isn't one dramatic leap, it's just daily perception. And that's where your freedom lives. You have free will to choose how to respond. You have free will to choose how to perceive. You have free will to look at every and any given situation placed in front of you and choose to see it as a mirror. Choose to see it as an opportunity to learn or to shift your identity or to raise your vibration. And when you settle into that idea and remember that you have the power to do that, it doesn't become a difficult chore. It almost becomes this game with yourself. Let's see how much I can win today with this game of perception. Unless you want to be a victim of your own environment, you can choose to have fun with this and to elevate yourself and to rise and to learn and to grow in everyday life. And it's something that I realized when I was just sat journaling, that I was almost waiting for the next epiphany. The journey of self and the spiritual journey is quite addictive, I guess, in a way for some people, because you want to learn all the time and grow through what you go through, and you learn a lesson. And it's so beautiful. And yes, that happens, but it doesn't have to just be in the big moments. You can choose to do it every single day. Choose to move like water. See everything in front of you as the perfect invitation to choose and level up. Perception becomes what you think it is, and it's entirely up to you. Your baseline is established in the daily mundane, which constantly reaffirms your identity. And those micro moments prepare you for the more extreme moments. It's not about living in the mind and living in the internal world of your ego and analyzing everything. And what does that mean when they said that? And oh my gosh, I can't believe they've done that. I can't believe they're doing this again. And analyzing everything, living in the mind, that's living in ego, that's living in the 3D realm. Mind versus soul is analytics versus the simple beauty of everything. It's so easy to allow ego to just brush off small moments throughout the day, for it to say, that's not something you should concern yourself over, or don't give that too much thought. Ego can brush off the small things so easily, but quantity wise, there's more small moments and micro moments throughout the day than large events happening to you. And we can choose for emotion to be transmuted and just wait for the energies and the positivity that you see within your life if you make this change and you make this step towards shifting your identity. Once you see how easy it is, just wait. Don't choose to be in the lower vibrational baseline. You're not responsible for the world around you, but you're responsible for how you choose to perceive it. Have the best day, and I'll see you on the next one.